Hello. One of the suggestions that I got from last semester's class was to perhaps provide video of myself in a lecture type situation so it didn't seem so anonymous. So anyway, I'm going to try it this year. I'm not real comfortable with it, but I'll give it a try. The suggestion was that I start off the discussion with some input, and so that's what I'm going to try to do. First, I'm going to respond to last week's discussion. It was incredible. I am so impressed with this class and all the different topics they brought up. I thought I'd address the topics that I'm most familiar with, and that's being a library media specialist, and how that works in the roles, because I think there's some confusion. I know with the budget cuts that the role of the school librarian in every district, in every school, is different. At least in Summit County, I can address that. Most of the Summit County schools only have a licensed librarian at their secondary schools. By state law in the new House Bill 1 also, you only need one licensed librarian per school district. So many times school districts will just have one licensed librarian and they place her in the high school. In the school district that I am in, we have a licensed librarian in the high school, the middle school, and our intermediate school, which has 5th and 6th graders. All our elementary schools are, we have library technicians, we call them, and we call them library technicians. They are classified staff, and they are overseen by a licensed librarian. For example, my elementary buildings, I write the lesson plans for them. I do all the ordering. Any kind of special requests the teachers may have, I work on those. But I'm not actually in the building teaching the students. I leave that up to the library technician. When we first hired them, I will go over there and model lessons so she could get a handle, but as I said, they're classified people, and at least in our circumstance, they don't have any education beyond high school. So hopefully the licensed librarian helps them in delivering lessons. One of the questions John had was getting the teachers to work with the tech coordinator or the librarian. It's not easy. When I first started out at the middle school, and they wanted the librarian to be very active in teaching, the principal mandated that every teacher would take their class to the library at some time, and actually had them on a schedule. I did that for about a year, and I didn't care for that fixed schedule where they had to go. Because we were at a middle school, the students were in different teams, and so it was a little bit easier to work with a team, and I didn't care what teacher brought them to the library as long as a member of the team. And probably within a couple of years, I really had that program going where I was able to integrate the subject matter. John also, or somebody else also asked about how you know the curriculum. My prior job to being the middle school librarian was being a middle school tutor. So I was very familiar with the curriculum. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Luckily, I was a secondary teacher, language arts, before I was the librarian. So now that I'm at the high school, I'm very comfortable teaching the language art classes. And I'm a history buff, so I'm very comfortable teaching social studies. Chemistry classes don't come to the library, which I'm glad, because I'd have difficulty teaching them anything in their subject area. However, you have to remember that what the teachers really want you to do is to help with the students learning research skills. So even though the students may be coming to look up different topics on chemistry, I think one of the projects we had was the periodic table, I don't necessarily have to have that subject knowledge. I can ask the teacher ahead of time what she or he expects from the students, and then I will go ahead and make sure that they find right databases, teach them how to find right databases, work with them on their search terms. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Don't get frustrated. I have a staff of over 100, and probably I have maybe 30 that I work with on a regular basis. I know I miss a lot of the students. Bottom line, I don't push it any further because with a staff over of 100, I'm not going to have the time. Last week I taught 3 days. This coming week I'll teach 3 days with 3 different teachers by the time I take the classes for the whole day and get through all of them. If I was trying to do that for every teacher, there wouldn't be enough of me to go around, not to mention that I have to hit the elementary schools to check out and see if everything is going fine. Nancy brought up about integrating technology into the curriculum. I think classroom teachers are overwhelmed. They gave me a new job this year. In addition to being the school librarian, I'm also the technology person, technology teacher, and I was told that the day before school started. All I've really done with that is I've offered classes during a conference, and then a day a quarter I run a class the whole day so teachers can come in during their planning period if they want. I'm always there for consultation, but I've tried to get distance learning up and running in our school, and one of the problems is the times of the distance learning opportunities don't coincide with the periods, our time periods. And another thing is I think our teachers are just so overwhelmed. Every time they turn around, they're mandating another change. Their class sizes are so big, and I guess I've just kind of put it on the back burner for this year. We're all just treading water, I think. So Cheryl mentioned that, or quoted me as saying that the teachers usually come to me. The teachers do come to me when they want me to help with a lesson, but I have talked to them at various staff meetings about what I can do, and I think if I was trying to drum up some more business, I'd be going out to the teachers, but I'm not trying to drum up any more business at this point. For example, Friday after school, I was correcting papers, and one of the teachers saw me and said, "Oh, are you correcting papers for your Kent State students?" And I said, "No, I'm correcting papers for the health classes that I taught yesterday." And he looked at me and he says, "They've got you teaching health?" And I said, "No, I'm teaching the health classes about web evaluation, and I offer to grade the papers." And he says, "Well, how does that work?" Well, he happened to be a language arts teacher, and I said, "Well, for example, last week I had the students in and they were researching Harper Lee, and I showed them how to do parenthetical references." And he said, "Well, why can't you teach my kids parenthetical references?" And I said, "Well, I can do that," but he happened to be a 12th grade teacher, and I said, "I'd like to teach your kids how to properly do headers and footers, because I end up doing it one-on-one when you assign that big research paper. It would be great if you collaborated with me and I could go over different research techniques with your students and show them how to properly set up their paper at MLA, and it would save us both a lot of time." Well, he was so excited, and I'm thinking, where have you been for the last 9 years? I've offered to do this with different teachers, but as I said, I think they just sometimes are so overwhelmed that maybe they don't see all that's out there. And when he saw me actually grading papers, he realized I can save you time.